Okay, have you understood? So CuSO4, I don't have a copper plate right now. I have a zinc plate to supply me what? Zinc atoms. I have a copper sulfate solution which gives me copper plus. Story clear so far? Now what I do, now I just take a wire and I connect it to this side. So what I'm doing, the two electrons which were actually lost by zinc, these two electrons start traveling and this copper atom is bound. Gains two electron and the copper atom is bound. Agreed? If the copper atom is bound, we have to give some place where the copper atom has to get and stored, right? So what we do, we will also have a copper plate out here. This is pure copper plate. So story starts once again. We started with zinc atom and copper ion. Zinc atom has a tendency, yeah, electron. Copper is hungry, copper ion is hungry for the electron. Where do you get the copper ion from? Copper sulfate solution. So we started with copper sulfate solution and copper sulfate solution has got copper ion and sulfate. इसके बारे में ज्यादा concentrate मत करो, ये तो spectator ion है. This is a spectator ion right now. So now the electron is ready to go and I have connected a wire. Once I connect a wire, the two electrons go out here and the copper ions transform to copper atom. I should give a place for collection of it. So they get deposited on the pre-existing copper plate. So what do you expect? That the copper plate will slowly become thicker and thicker and zinc will become thinner and thinner, right? So what I do now, I start enclosing this in what is called two half cells. ये मेरे two half cells हो गए, ठीक है? अब झमेला एक है यहाँ पे. What is the झमेला? If you go on seeing that after some times a lot of Zn2 pluses will be formed. बहुत सारे Zn2 plus form हो जाएगा because zinc ions are getting formed. These two pluses are what? Positive in nature, right? They will ask this electron, अबे किधर जा रहा है? You are negative, we are positive. तुम भाई इधर ही रहो, काहे को उधर जाते हो? Don't go. So the electron movement now gets inhibited. थोड़ा सा अड़चन आ गया आपके इलेक्ट्रॉन के मूवमेंट. Are you understanding? And on this side, what you are seeing, on this side you will see that more and more copper ions are splitting out. So you are getting more and more SO4 2 minus. So here is a buildup of more positive charge. Here is a buildup of more negative charge. ठीक है ना? So these are the nuisance children in this home. These are the nuisance children in that home. They are not allowing either parent to go happily and work. So what do you want? You have to engage them now. To engage them, what we will do, we introduce something which is known as a salt bridge. So we will introduce, let me take a different color. पढ़ाने का इच्छा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप पढ़ा सकते हैं, बट क्वेश्चन है ना, बच्चों को क्यों परेशान करते हैं? तो that is what I don't like. So we will introduce something called a salt bridge. Now what is a salt bridge? A salt bridge is an aqueous solution of sodium chloride, NaCl. And out here we will have cotton plugged. This is generally plugged with cotton or something which is known as agar-agar. Agar-agar. So you see, again, it goes to grade 12 level. So this is cotton. Cotton se plug kar diya hai. So what we will have here, Na plus means this is aqueous solution. Huh, bachcha? This is aqueous. Aqueous means there will be Na plus, Cl minus, Na plus, Cl minus. Are you understanding? Now there is a huge build-up of positive charge out there. ठीक है ना? ये लोग भी बोलता है, अबे ये तो नया आइटम आ गया इधर में. So they will now start pulling what? These sodiums. This cotton are permeable to allow the sodium ions to go and the chloride ions to go. So what does zinc do? Zinc will pull what? Chloride ion को pull करेगा और ये इसके साथ engage हो जाएगा. जैसे ये इसके साथ engage हो गया, these shaitan bachchas are taken care of now. And on this side we have a lot of sulfates. So what happens? The sodiums will pop out from here and these sodiums will engage with this and form sodium sulfate. Are my electrons now free to go from this side to this side? Happily. Cell is sustaining the current supply. Till when? Till all the zinc does not get dissolved, or the entire zinc plate will one day and copper will become cell khatam hua. Acha, 1 minute. You must be seeing that there are some cells which we also do rechargeable cells. The ones like in cameras and all that we put, not the lithium ones. Pencil battery jaisa hi rehta hai, rechargeable. Rechargeable cells are not like this. Those are dry cells. In those we call them as NiCd, nickel cadmium cells. So what happened? Chemical reaction gave rise to what? Electric current. वहां reverse करते हैं. Electric current से charge करते हैं. Reverse chemical reaction happens and they're again ready to lose electrons. इसका rebirth करवाते हैं उसमें. Voltaic cell was given by Professor Alexander Volta. This is also known as a galvanic cell. See, a voltaic cell or a galvanic cell can be made with many type of combinations. In grade 12, such a cell will be written like this. How will we write this cell? We will write Zn stroke Zn2 plus double line Cu2 plus Cu. It shows Zn loses electron to become Zn2 plus, solve bridge, Cu2 plus gains electrons and from Cu. This is one type of voltaic cell or galvanic cell which we are making out of zinc, and so we can make this cell from even say copper and silver also. So now to address Nidhi's question, why do we have two metals? We have two metals because a voltaic cell works on the principle of redox reaction. Somebody has to get reduced, somebody has to get oxidized. Who is getting reduced? Copper ions are getting reduced. To what? Copper atoms. Where does the copper atom get stored? On a copper. The copper atom जाएगा कहाँ पे? तैर तो नहीं सकता है ना? So you need a metal this side. And you are sacrificing, मतलब you are creating zinc ions. How are zinc ions getting created? From zinc atoms. Who will give you zinc atom? Zinc plate is introduced. एक राउंड और समझाए या समझ में आ गया? एक राउंड और. Last round, okay. So come from the first slide itself. What is a voltaic cell? A voltaic cell works on the principle of a redox reaction. In a redox reaction, there is always reduction and oxidation. Reduction is followed by gain of electrons. Oxidation is followed by loss of electrons. That means one thing that strikes our head and we get very happy is electron ka आदान प्रदान हो रहा है. There's an electron circulation and flow of electrons is known as current. If by way we can make this flow of electron continuous, as a battery, what do you want as a cell? लगा दूंगा, it should give on giving me voltage for a stipulated time. लगा दिया, एक साल चलना चाहिए. So for 1 year, it should give on giving me. That means I should generate some spontaneous redox reactions which are sustainable and is giving me a voltage. So exactly, if you put a multimeter out here or a voltmeter, you will see a voltage out here, right? So that was the principle. So what we did, we started a research between zinc atom and copper ion. A zinc atom is always in the hurry to lose 2 electrons and become zinc ion. This fellow wants to become Zn2 plus. This fellow wants to become Cu. It becomes Cu when it gains 2 electron. So this is our interest. So we have a zinc atom out here. Now how do you get the zinc atom? We bring a zinc plate. And we want to have copper ions out here. Copper ions are not readily available in Ratnadeep. So what did we do? We brought aqueous copper sulfate. Copper sulfate, aqueous means copper ion is present, right? So immediately the zinc is now ready to get oxidized. But once it gets oxidized, it will puke 2 electrons. So you just connect a wire and take the 2 puked electrons to this side, and copper ions become very happy. Mil gaya 2 electron. And they start becoming copper atoms. Once they have formed copper atoms, we need a storage place. So we have given one copper bar. भैया तुम इसी के ऊपर जमा होते रहना. वो क्या, वो शवरमा जैसा बनाते हैं ना, that big bar is there. हाँ, तो उसी में तुम जमा होते रहना, बस इसमें जमा होते रहेगा. But there is one problem. There is only 2 electrons which keep transferring. But out here, what is the problem? A lot of zinc positive ions are getting created. These positive ions then say, भाई तुम उधर क्यों जा रहे हो? अपने को दो. So you need to diffuse these. And on this side, we are having a lot of negatives are getting created. So even if an electron is coming, they say, no. There's a rule. एक बहू दूसरे बहू को टॉलरेट ही नहीं करता है, घर में जाओ आप. So now we need a diffuser. Who is the diffuser? A salt bridge. And the salt bridge is made up of aqueous sodium chloride. Aqueous sodium chloride means Na plus and Cl minus रहेगा. तुम भाई साहब इसको खा लो, तुम इसको खा लो. So sulfates are taken care by sodium zinc pluses are taken care by chloride and the electron just sees कोई भी नहीं है, चलो जाओ वहां पे, happily the electron is crossing over. Do you understand voltaic cell now? Voltaic cells are known as galvanic cells also, but it is not necessary that you should have only copper in this. You should have any two. Acha, where will you get maximum voltage? The more you are far apart in that electrochemical series, you need to have a very danveer person and you need to have an absolute greedy guy. Then only the transfer will be very good. He doesn't want to give. I'm also not interested to take. So if you take two metals in the reactivity who are very close to each other, they will form a galvanic cell, but voltage बढ़िया नहीं आएगा. What is the best transaction? You are hungry to give it, and I am equally hungry to take it. Then the transfer will be very fast. So select two elements who are far apart. And if you see zinc and copper in the reactivity series, please stop calling me a zebra. Zebra is zinc. Instead, try learning how copper. कॉपर सिल्वर में भी बनता है. मैग्नीशियम, जैसे हम जो बैटरीज खरीदते हैं उसमें मैग्नीशियम रहता है, मैग्नीशियम और ऊपर है, मैग्नीशियम से भी बन सकता है, किसी से भी आप बना सकते हैं. द ओनली रीजन इज सिलेक्ट टू इन विच देयर इज अ कंसिडरेबल डिफरेंस ऑफ बिहेवियर. नाउ यू मे आस्क अ क्वेश्चन, sir, copper is a metal, copper also would like to oxidize. Yes, that's the reason I took copper ions. Copper oxidizes, but in the presence of zinc I am rich. But when you bring Ambani in front of me, I am agreed. पोटेशियम का तो बार नहीं बना सकते हो ना. Sodium you can create bars and all, and sodium is the cell is not safe for you to handle. Metal, वो those are metals only by losing capacity. Sodium लाओगे कहाँ? Sodium को जैसे ही बाहर little bit sodium exports outside, by that time you are भस्मासुर.
Sir, isn't the salt bridge usually made up of potassium chloride?
Anything. What is the job of the salt bridge? You tell me what is the job. There are some hungry dogs out here. You are saying, I said that the salt bridge is made up of chicken 65. You are saying, no sir, it is made up of mutton 65. ये dog को bone चाहिए, भाई chicken का दो, mutton का दो, उसको क्या लेना देना? Only make sure that there is a positive bone here and a negative bone here. The negative one will be eaten this side, positive. Potassium chloride, I will say, let's take sodium bromide. Potassium hydroxide also can be there. So what we should go? We should go for something which is less corrosive, more readily available. And at the end of the day, the Indian buyer will say, सस्ता कौन सा है? Duracell or this. So you have to go for cheap. तो बच्चे समझ में आया अभी वोल्टेक सेल क्या है?